The camera is so delayed for some reason.
It's okay. Greetings, everyone. I'm Tieesha Essex back with another great video. Today, I'm with one of my great sisters. Shout out to Brother Kimani and Sister Cinnamon for introducing us last year. I love y'all so much. Thank you for connecting me with such a wonderful woman. And today, we're going to talk about why I hired a doula and why you should not go into labor and delivery or go through a pregnancy without one. So, without further ado, we have Shanae from Doula with Me. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thanks to you. You just made my day even better. So, thank you for joining me today. And last year when I met you, you were a new mom, and then this year I was on social media, I was scrolling, and I was on Instagram and I saw a handle Doula with Me, and it was your face. I'm like, I know her. I'm like, did somebody take her picture and put her up there? And that's when you told me the great news that you are a doula. So can you tell us about how or what inspired you, what led up to you becoming a doula, and tell us what a doula is?
Yes, so excited to start my journey. So I got started when I became pregnant with my son, which he is 4 now. Um, as most mothers or expecting mothers, you start researching stuff. So I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen to my body? What's gonna happen to my baby? What are all the things that's gonna happen after birth? And some of the things I wasn't liking. So I was with an OB, and half of the time when I would go visit, do my appointments, she wasn't there. So I was like, this is not for me. So I found a midwife, and they told me that I get a doula. So I was like, what's a doula? And so they explained to me, and I ended up having a doula with my birth, and game changer. I feel like if she wasn't there, I don't know how I would have made it through the pain. Um, so I decided that I wanted to become a doula. So for like 2 years, it was in the back of my head. Okay, I want to do it. I want to do it, and never jumped out there. And then during the pandemic, I decided that I was gonna go do my training and become a doula. So what a doula is it's a support person. We are non-medical, but what we do is we educate, we support physically and emotionally, and with advocacy. And how we do those things is through education throughout your pregnancy. We inform you about labor and delivery, your body changes, different aspects of things you can do when you have different issues, if you need help, when questions come about. Once you hire us as your doula. And then like the hospital part, if you're going to be at the hospital, a birth center, or at home like you. And then like the physical part, we're working like with comfort measures and different things we can do to help support you through the pain. Especially if you want to go natural, it's different techniques you can do. And then emotionally, so we're doing like affirmations and supporting you emotionally, let you know you can do this. You were designed for this, and you can do it. So just giving that added support, because sometimes you just need to hear that and continue to hear that. And then the advocacy is a big part, especially in the hospitals, is where we, throughout our journey with you, we provide you information so you're ready to advocate, or your partner, your spouse, or your support person that you're going to have at the hospital, which you also knows your birth plan, and we can help advocate for you. Or if you're gone in labor land, I can say, hey, you remember this is what you wanted to do, this is what you didn't want to do, and I can be in your ear, your partner ear. Because sometimes as a doula, we're not really supposed to speak up for you because we're not the patient. So the hospital can kick us out. So if I'm telling you, hey, this is what's going on, if you want to do this, say this, or to your spouse or partner. And that's part of the advocacy part of that.
I'm getting myself off of mute. Amazing. And you pretty much went down all the reasons why I wanted one. I didn't know what a doula was until like social media. I started seeing um first one was Erica Badu. On Instagram, her name is Erica
Right.
Badu Doula or something like that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what is a doula? And I started looking into it. And then as you say, once the demic happened, everybody was started doing for self. And that was one of the most beautiful things because it's like we regained that independence, being self-sufficient, relying on self, and we simplified a lot of things. That caused a lot of people to like, okay, if the hospital is saying don't come, we have no beds. But guess what? I have a bed right here. I have all this here, and I could do for myself. And we hired a doula because at first we were trying to find a midwife for home birthing first. And we couldn't find one.
Mhm.
And then shout out to Tieesha, the home birth queen. She her website, TieeshaHomebirthQueen.com. She has a directory, but I also reached out to her. I'm like, I'm feeling so bummed. I'm in my mind, I want this home birth. If I can, I just do it by myself. I'll go in there, hop in the bathtub, and come out with a baby. But I'm like, you know what? You know, um,
Right.
we want, to hire a team. And she referred me to a doulas who work together. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, if I have to go to the hospital, I'm like, well, my plan was to labor at home as long as possible. And I was like, if she just happens to come at home, she comes at home. But
Right.
I was like, if we have to go to labor and delivery, I want someone there to advocate for us, for my spouse and I, because I'm like, this is his first time in labor and delivery. So while he's trying to be in the moment, like, yeah, it's about me, but it's not about me, it's about us. So while he's in the moment, there, excitement, whatever he's feeling, nervousness, whatever, I want someone who is comfortable in that environment that's not our home, who is there for business, who's on our side because they work for us directly, not getting paid through insurance or a third party. No, you work for us. So you're there for us. And we've built a rapport over however many so weeks. And then also wanted that postpartum care because a lot of people just think, okay, because you had the baby, it's all done. You're going back to normal. No, that's where I learned about the fourth trimester questions, someone there to help you like, okay, we have this new addition here. How do we adjust? And that's what I really wanted. So that's why I hired doula, and also coming up with a birth plan because things change and this is your field. So you've seen like, oh, I've been to that hospital before. Oh, I've heard of that name before. You might want to try this, offer all types of support. And
Right.
with the history of doula, correct me if I'm wrong, what I read was that like the role of a doula was traditionally held by like your sisters or your aunts, your mom or something like that, in addition to having a midwife or a home birth. And that's something that I wanted. Like my four mothers gave birth at home here in Georgia. I want to do the same since I'm here. So can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit of the history or how this role, I mean, you stated that with the demic, it became popularized, but kind of like the history and how it came to be, especially with Black women.
Yeah. So back when you still had the nanny midwives, we weren't really allowed in the hospitals. So we were being at home anyway. And we were surrounded by family and love and people that supported us and cared for us. And we were in our comfort in our home. Um, so yeah, we were surrounded, and like a lot of time back in the day, they did used to push the men out. Like, this is the women's thing. We're gonna we're gonna do this. We got her.
Go
um,
somewhere and boil some water for us.
yeah. Um, so yeah, so your support people were just around you to pamper you, to cater to you, make sure you were okay, you were safe, and you were as comfortable as you could be. I mean, labor and delivery, it can be painful, but you can work through it. So they're just there to add that support. And that's how it used to be before the family dynamic kind of like fell apart.
And that was one thing I was reading too, about how having your child at home or using a midwife for that reason, it was really popular. But then, of course, we started going into the direction of, the other ice is colder. So that's when like licensing practices and discriminatory practices came into play. And then our numbers as far as midwives and home births went down because it was popular, like turn your labor and delivery, turn your pregnancy into an emergency, and the need for so many interventions. And one thing that I love about you, that you said that you're strictly natural. And can you, I was one thing I read about doulas. Using a doula is statistically shown reduces a lot of unnecessary medical interventions like C-sections, pain meds, and other stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so I usually try to educate my clients on all the things that they gonna try to do at the hospital to get baby moving, because they want you in and out of that hospital. They want empty beds. Or it might be the weekend. The doctor like, okay, I've been here all week. I'm ready to go. Let's induce them. Or I see something. Let's do a C-section. And that's where a lot of doulas come into play, because no, is this medically necessary? I'm not seeing that. Can you tell us the risk of that? So a lot of people, like you said, think just because they're a doctor, they know best, or what they say goes. But like you said, they work for you. You don't work for them. The woman that's pregnant does not work for the doctor. So usually they try to push Pitocin to get the contractions started. You can do so many things at home to get your contract. Well, they're going to come anyway, but to keep them coming. So at a certain point, when the mothers like start contractions, we usually say, okay, look, you're at the peak of it. You're just getting started. Go eat something, relax. Because I mean, it can take a little while. So you don't want to burn out all your energy. And then so we'll do different things to get baby moving down the canal and make sure the contractions are steady and they don't like fall off. So we'll pay attention to different things like that. We might have you drink some teas, some different herbal teas, which is popular, the raspberry tea.
I'm on that one cup a day.
That's the most popular one. So different things like that, and to keep you at home as long as possible. A lot of women feel like they can't do it, or no, this is painful, but it's in your head. So it's all mental. Like running a marathon, it's hard, but you can do it. It's hard, but it's a mindset, because if you trick yourself out, then you're gonna trick yourself out and you're not gonna do it. But if you're in your head and you go within, then you can do it. So that's more so like on the natural way, not dealing with the Pitocin and the epidurals and the different medications, the IVs, and all the things at the hospital that they will try to do to get baby going.
And that's a great thing that you brought up. Since we're talking about the medical side, I forgot to put up the disclaimer. Let's put up a disclaimer that nothing we say here supersedes sound medical advice. You should not take our advice. It's for entertainment and education purposes only. So you do not hold any of us liable. Don't do what we say. You do your own research and proceed accordingly. Okay. As you were saying, I believe it was yes. One thing that attracted me to having a doula and being at home is the movement. The movement. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I learned so much about different things to, prepare your body as the baby descends, and different movements and counter pressures for pressure relief, and setting the mood, to get everything going with music, sound, light, sense. It's definitely something for all five senses to keep you in this moment versus being stuck to a bed. When I think about the bed, I think of movies when someone is handcuffed to the bed, because you can't get out.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Back in the day, they actually would strap women to the bed and put them to sleep to have their babies.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy, right? Yeah, so they would do that. And just like now, even so now, with women laying on their backs, that's not ideal for birth, because as baby has to go up canal then when you're laying on your back, instead of if you're on all fours and the baby is going down using gravity. It's not ideal. They want you on your back because it's clean, so in case mom poops or whatever, and they want to be able to see everything. But it's like we said, we don't work for them. They're working for us. So that's just still not ideal, but that's practice. And if you don't know any better, they're gonna have you on your back.
And that's one thing too. I didn't know the different positions to have a baby, and I'm thinking like, what we see in Hollywood, what's put out there. You're on your back. You're doing all that. No. Oh my gosh, water births in the shower, on all fours, on your side, wherever. It's whatever is most comfortable for mom. I love how your birth team works around you, not ordering you into certain things, and you're not strapped up, and you have the IV in, and a lot of stuff. So that's one thing I did not want that I had in my first birth, and then also I did not want to have that now. And then also, we're talking about how doulas work with mom. He talked a little bit about how doulas work with dad, because it's this is a unit, and dads, they just are like, okay, hey, there's a baby coming, there's a baby coming, and I've noticed with my sweetheart, he's right there with the classes that my doulas have. They have them twice a week. He's right there in every class. I think he's absorbed everything he needs to know about breastfeeding, about infant care, about everything, to include the videos. It's like, yeah, that's real right there. So can you talk about how you work with the dad?
Yeah, it's so important to get dad involved, because like I said, this is their baby too, and they know you better than us. So if they see some signs in you, something is different, they can tell me. I might not pick it up because I'm just building this relationship with you. So it's good to have their set of eyes too. Say, oh, she's talking different, or she's looking a little. This is not her. She's not herself, basically, or something like that. And then having them hands on, so they're not like sitting back in the corner, like, okay, well, what did I do? Well, I'm not a part of this. So it's good to have them hands on. I usually ask dad. So on a typical day, if Tieisha's not feeling good, Mr. King, what do you do to comfort her? What's gonna make her feel better? And you use that throughout labor and delivery too. Those things are gonna help. Birth is intimate too. Just like baby got here, baby is gonna come out.
I've heard that what got her in is going to get her out. I've heard that as well. Yep.
I'm actually reading a book right now called Orgasmic Birth. Very interesting read. So some women say that they actually have an orgasm as baby is coming out. And not all women experience that, but some do. But it depends on their surroundings and all the things. So making sure you're comfortable, especially even if you are in the hospital. Say he knows you like a certain music or a certain scent. Okay, how are we going to put that into your birth space? Just getting insight from him and making sure he knows how to do all the comfort measures, and talking to him about different things he can do before your doula gets there, because sometimes your doula, it might be a little while before she gets there. So making sure he's prepared, like that he's not in a frantic, because if he panics, then you're going to sense that and you're going to feel that, and we don't want you stressed because he's stressed. So yeah, it's very important.
And I really like that, because you have a line to someone who is calm, professional, who's in control to allow you and dad to be in the moment, as well as if you have, you know, other children. I know I've heard some doulas that while they're there, they, you know, help with the other children, help with, like, you know, small
Yes.
tasks, just to make everything about bringing baby into the world and recovery.
Yes, yes. Because we don't want you thinking about any of that. We don't want you stressed, worrying about the kids, the dog, your husband. If you got family over and they're being a distraction, we're going to ask them, can you leave? Like, we are making this space all about you. We're bringing in life. We're bringing baby Earthside, and we need a peaceful, like, sanctuary. Like, whatever you want.
Shout out to everybody who's watching live and everybody who is going to watch the replay. Shout out to Miss Peaceful Nature. And of course, long time subscriber, Mr. Short Stroke. You said, dear Lord, it just got weird. It's very hard to fight programming about orgasms and childbirth. But you know what? You know what? It makes absolute sense. I wrote down the name of your book. I'm going to put that on my wish list. I just keep ordering books every day. I need to calm down, but
you have plenty of time soon to read them.
But when you think about it, okay, once we remove the interventions, like we were talking about Pitocin to speed up labor, that's synthetic. That's what pig Pitocin, that's derived from pigs or animals or somewhere else, but it's not naturally made in our body. Instead, we have oxytocin. And, you know, with having support, a birthing team and support, you know, you are focusing on what your body is making natural, because your body knows exactly what to do. Also, when you think about an orgasm, especially with women, that's what causes our cervix to open. And in childbirth, we need our cervix to open to get the baby out. Exactly. So it makes so much sense. What got them in there is used to get them out. I even watched, and you can watch so many childbirthing videos on YouTube. I'm particularly into unmedicated, unassisted home births, water births on YouTube. I watch those all the time. But I noticed something too, you know, with one lady, she was in labor and they were keeping her contractions going using her breast pump, you know, like stimulating her nipples. I saw that as well. And she was sitting right there, you know, you could see what she was going through in her face, but labor continued progressing. Her husband was sitting behind her. It's these different things that I don't see in a hospital setting. And I'm not knocking the hospital, because having a birthing team, it comes out of pocket. Like, insurance isn't covering that. So we'll talk about that in a second, but insurance isn't covering that. So if you have to go to the hospital, that's perfectly fine. But these different interventions are things that you try, as far as, you know, pain relief, discomfort, pressure, progressing labor. You're not so quick to run to, hey, let's inject you with this, let's get you this, let's do that. And that's one of the things that I really love. So hopefully, Mrs. Short Stroke, that helped take the weirdness out of it, but it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. I won't jump into the Pitocin thing because I was going to, but yeah.
Yeah, that they can contact you or start up a chat. You have her contact information. I tagged her on Facebook. I tagged that I'm live with Shanae, and then also on YouTube. I have her links all in the description. The next one I'm talking about, since I brought up insurance. Now, yes, for us, you know, insurance is not covering doulas, home birthing, midwife, nothing, not covering any of that. It's all out of pocket. But I did come across an article recently. Several states have like a Medicaid funded doula pilot program. And I came across another article where the VA, the Veterans Affairs, not Virginia, you know, 2 up, 2 down, that VA was also looking into a paid doula program for low-income women. And I thought that was a good thing. I'm like, yes, because no woman should go into labor and delivery or even get pregnant without considering a doula. And I ran that by you, and then you talked to me more about that, and I saw like, yeah, that's not too cool. So can you talk to us about that and your views on, you know, the paid doula for low-income women policy through Medicaid or whatever?
Yeah, and it's still pretty new, and I'm still learning. But from what I said in meetings about it, doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. But I will say to start off, some insurance companies do reimburse for doulas. It just depends. Or TRICARE, it just depends on that too. But like I said, with insurance, with midwives and doulas, they're not making that much money off of you because they can't charge because we're not using the pharmaceuticals and all this other stuff. So they're not making money and it's natural. So they don't want parts with it. Disclaimer. But the Medicaid part is, so this came about, and they want to call the Medicaid group community doulas. And so what they're doing, they're gonna basically make doulas work twice as hard for less to pay. And I felt like the way they pushed the nanny midwives out back in the day and pushed people to hospitals, it's kind of what they're gonna kind of do to the doulas, because they're making it kind of hard because you have to do all their protocols and you have to do this and do that, and they might say you have to get this thing and whatever the case may be. They're gonna want you to push stuff on your client, and that's not how I want to practice. Like I said, I'm more holistic, so I don't want to push all these things on these low income people and to give y'all another lifelong client, basically. And that's just my aspect of seeing from it, from what I've talked to my mentor about and sitting in some of the Medicaid meetings. And I'm just not feeling it.
And I totally respect that because that gives you the freedom, to offer individualized care to each couple, not just, okay, this is standard across the board is what you get because that's what we get at the hospital. Without a doula, I won't say at the hospital, but without a doula. So I really respect that. And I'm like, wow, you gave me a whole nother perspective. Like, okay, here I was champion something. I'm like, hold on, there was some drawbacks. And I'm so happy you brought that to my attention. Shout out to brother Daryl Eiffel. Greetings from Pine Tops, North Carolina. Thank you so much. And Mrs. Shortstruck had another comment. Why not just take the epidural for the pain and the doula to the hospital and be done with it? It's like a fear of the system or lack of advocacy. I don't get it. That is a wonderful question because, some people's like, you know what, just go along to get along. But it's like, no, there are repercussions, there are lifelong side effects, to anything that is put into you. I had a epidural with my first son. It only numbed one half of my body. And after that, I have back issues that are documented. That's one thing that we don't think about. You're injecting something into the spinal column. You have that risk of being paralyzed. Also, too, with the epidural, you don't feel that the aim of the game is not feel anything. So your mind is disconnected from your lower half. And while you're trying to tell the rest of your body to expand and open, it results in tearing or episiotomies. I forgot what it is. Episiotomy. Yeah. And so that's one thing you have to deal with. So one thing that was foreign to me after I had my son, who was 8 pounds 9 ounces, I'm like, they're like, hey, you had a baby and you also have like 4 or 5 stitches. I'm like, for what? I didn't, fall or get cut. No, you have to get sliced from, the rooter to the tutor for to keep it clean. But no, you get sliced from the bottom of your vagina to the top of your anus to allow your vagina to open so that the baby can exit, but you're disconnected from all that. But that's one of the perks that I see of having a doula and also a home birthing midwife is that my body is doing exactly what it needs to do. My body did exactly what it needed to do to conceive. It's done exactly what it needed to do during, the entire gestation period. My body knows exactly what to do to eject the baby. And I don't want any outside interference. I want, every resource possible to help my body do what it needs to do without lifelong side effects.
So yes, so many things there. Why don't just get the epidural? Yeah, so many things there I could talk about. One, like you said, you're working with baby to get baby out. If you can't feel what baby is coming, some people can't end up pushing because they can't feel anything. They can't push. So, oh, we're gonna put you in a C-section, or it's a drug. So if you can't feel anything, why do you think baby can feel
Yes,
that much?
everything that you do, it goes through the placenta to the baby. So, okay, you get that. Now the baby's
Yeah,
like, what the heck is going on? I'm
yeah,
had. And then they start having distress. And then, okay, now it's time to suit you up for surgery. Who wants that?
yeah. And then if baby it does come out vaginally still, baby is still drugged, so it's gonna make breastfeeding harder. If baby isn't that alert,
Mm-hmm.
um, like you said, the back pain. Some people get severe itching that won't stop, or the back pain, or even the risk of you trying to get this needle on your back and you jerk and you're paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many things there, and that's not even all of it.
And that's why it's such a beautiful thing and why I want to be open about this because it took other women being open and transparent about their birth situation that inspire me. The information is out there. We're using social media smartly and using our platforms to connect with great people, because even if just one woman watched this video and she's in Richmond and she's like, I want to contact Shanae. I'm going to contact her. I need her. Just that one woman that watched, that serves my purpose for this video and sharing my journey. So yeah, we do not have to go along to get along. We don't have to follow one set path for childbirth and labor and delivery. So that's why I'm not doing it. Yeah, it will be easier. I actually, my goal is to have a boring labor and delivery. I don't want to have where, oh, I went into labor and then we were speeding to the hospital and I'm in there screaming and he passed out. I don't want any of that. I wanted to be so boring. Like I was just sitting here and breathing. And next thing I know, we went and did the curb walk and I drank some coconut water and I did 2 pushes and she's here. I want the most boring story.
Yes,
One thing I wanted to ask you about so that you can take a moment and do some self-advertising is your services as well as your services postpartum, that important, often forgotten about 4th trimester. And I bring that up because with my doulas now, we're talking about postpartum depression, baby blues, having a support system. And I really love it because it's like after you get discharged, it's like unless you have an emergency, go to the ER. And then when you come back for your 6-week appointment, what birth control do you want to be on? There's no real focus on mom as well as baby, but the main focus is back on mom, helping us to recover and, get through this transitional time.
yeah. And I wanted to tell you the other day, breastfeeding on demand is birth control. It's not likely that your cycle will come back if you're breastfeeding on demand. It'll take quite a while for it to come back. But yeah, so my services, I provide myself as a birth doula, where I work with you and your spouse or support person one-on-one throughout your pregnancy, and then I'm there for your labor and delivery, and then usually I will see you for one postpartum visit with being your birth doula. And if you want me to stay and be your postpartum doula, that entails me coming to your home, supporting you, make sure breastfeeding is going good. I'm talking to you to make sure I don't see any signs of postpartum depression, making sure y'all are adjusting well, because you not too long ago you didn't have a baby, now you have a baby, and that transition, make sure you're resting well. As we know, babies have to be fed every 2 to 3 hours. So just coming to take the baby, hey, go take a nap, or making sure you're eating and drinking, might cook you something light to eat, do some light housework, things to take your mind off stuff that you need to do. I'll come do them for you, so you don't have to worry about them. And it just kind of makes life easier when you're transitioning, because sometimes it can feel like you're in the trenches when you first bring baby home or you first have baby at the house, um, because they're crying, and then you're feeding them and you're trying to go to sleep, and then you wake up and it's time to feed them again, and you just feel like I'm in a twilight zone right now. But yeah, you ask for support. I usually ask people to find other people that you have close relatives or people that you feel like could support you. Not people that want to come and just see the baby, because baby is okay. Mom and dad need help. So if you can't pull out your boob, or you can't ask them to wash the dishes, or not even ask them, if they don't come and you don't feel like they'll just come and wash the dishes, bring you something to eat, cook you something to eat, do a load of laundry, then they don't need to come. Because yeah, you want people to see the baby and all, but we need help right now. And that's what it's about. The postpartum doula part of it. Yeah.
That is so amazing. And I just want to say this investment, I look at it not just a cost, but it's an investment in our daughter's life. And so I'm so happy that we did this. And I'm so happy that you chose this path, because you are so perfect. Like, even when before I knew you were a doula, you just have this personality that's just magnetic, and it's just magical. It's just so calming. So I know that's what you also bring to your families. I took a visit to your website, and I saw the reviews and the comments, and I'm like, oh, this is so cute, so beautiful. You are just amazing. That's pretty much all I have for you here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you are busy with home life and everything else that you are doing. So if you can you let everybody know how to find you, how to reach you? And I'm sorry I was having my technical difficulties again. But every link for you is listed in the description if you want to get in touch with Shanae. She's available. She's on all social media platforms. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on IG, Instagram, at the Doula With Me. I'm on Facebook, the same name, Doula With Me. And my website, which is linked below. You can find more information there. And I don't have a YouTube yet. This might push me into building a YouTube to get more information out.
You have the perfect background for it, perfect energy. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to hear about your birth. I'm so excited. I know it's going to be wonderful.
Really quick, I forgot my last question for you.
Yeah.
Really quick, what would you advise? Like, what should a couple look for in a doula? They're looking to hire a doula. What are some things they should look for? That was my question. I would have got mad if I had ended the broadcast.
For one, you want to make sure that the vibe is good with this person, because mind you, this person is going to be in your personal space. They might see you naked or whatever the case may be, but make sure you're comfortable with this person. So then what you want to look for, you want to see, okay, well, how many births have you supported, and what are your thoughts on different things? Don't tell them, okay, what you want to do based off your birth plan, but ask them their thoughts on different things, because you want to know that they'll be able to support you in your decisions and not have any biases or put their agenda on you. So asking questions about that, pertaining to how you want your birth to be, and then just a feel on how they do their practice. What you're gonna get, how many prenatals, do you have a backup doula, and just are you available around those dates, and so many things, but I can send you a list. But yeah, make sure you're interviewing them thoroughly on what you want and what you need.
I think that would be great for anyone to contact you to ask these questions and get an additional follow up, because I definitely want, couples to reach out to you and actually secure a doula and enjoy this time, because it goes by so fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, ours is almost over.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I miss you tons, and I will try to get up and see you, because I'm like, the only reason why I would go back to Virginia, of course, you know, I have some loved ones there, but I also want another Wawa sandwich. So if you can't eat a Wawa sandwich,
I'm gonna have to come bring you a Wawa sandwich.
Yes.
Tell your doulas you want a Wawa sandwich.
Exactly. Like,
for after you deliver.
Well, have a good one and give the family my best. I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast, or you stay on and we'll talk offline for a second, okay? So I want to say thank you to everybody for watching today and tuning in for this video. I've been anticipating this for a while, and I'm happy we got it done. And I hope it's beneficial and constructive to you. And I will keep you updated on my empowered maternity journey. And I will see you on the next video.